Let's take a quick look at leaven. There's more material than can be in one presentation on this. But what is leaven? Most who are around a kitchen at all are familiar with yeast, how it'll cause a bread to rise. That's like a leaven, some kind of agent, chemical bacteria that causes the bread to rise. If you look, Google Dictionary says it's like a pervasive influence that modifies something or transforms it. So not just yeast and bread, but anything that changes something else can be considered yeast. Now, the Google Dictionary transforms it for the better. But as we'll look in the Bible, we'll see that Jesus used leaven in both a good sense and a bad sense, or the Bible overall uses it in both ways. The leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. In Matthew 16:5, when the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, "Watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees." And he goes on teaching there, and they didn't understand what he was talking about. And then he says down in verse 11, "How is it that you fail to understand that I did not speak about bread? Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees." Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. So they thought Jesus was upset with them for not bringing bread, and they finally understand that Jesus is talking about doctrines and teachings of these religious groups that could influence people. So we need to be aware of leavens, of doctrines that influence us in the wrong ways. Here's one that says the leaven of Pharisees and Herod. In Mark 8:15, he cautioned him, saying, "Watch out, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod." And this is a parallel account of the same incident as Matthew's there, where they had forgotten to take bread and thought he was upset with them. Matthew's account said leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Here, it's saying leaven of the Pharisees and Herod. It's probably pretty likely that Jesus used all those words that day. He probably mentioned the leaven of the Pharisees, probably mentioned leaven of the Sadducees, and probably mentioned the leaven of Herod. If you look at the words, according to Mark and Matthew, they truly did use different words for Sadducees and Herod there. It's not like there was a problem in translation. The original documents have two different words there. So he probably mentioned all of those different groups as being aware of their leaven. So we see here the leaven of malice and evil. 1 Corinthians 5:6 says, "Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Cleanse out the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, as you really are unleavened. For Christ our Passover lamb has been sacrificed. Let us therefore celebrate the festival, not with the old leaven, the leaven of malice and evil, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth." If you pay attention there, it doesn't take much of a bad influence to have a big effect on people or things. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. But if we're positive thinkers, we can realize a little good can have a great effect too, if we'll just put forth the effort and give it a try. So we need to get rid of the old leaven. The old man, if you will, is what sometimes the Bible pictures something like this as, putting off the old man. And here's a little table to try to help us remember this. We have the old leaven of malice and evil that fills us, and we're trying to be unleavened with sincerity and truth, getting rid of the malice and evil. Leaven of the kingdom. Last one. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven that a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour till it was all leavened. If you noticed, all examples before were bad, were negative leaven, encouraging us to become unleavened. We end with a positive example of a leaven. The kingdom of heaven has and is and will have a good effect on people as we teach the doctrine, the gospel of Jesus. If we let the word transform us, like a leaven, we will be all leavened or full in a good sense. Notice that we see Jesus using the concept again as good. Paul used it as bad, and that we needed to remove and be unleavened. So I think we can paraphrase it this way as we end. Don't let bad leaven affect you. When it comes to bad leaven, become unleavened. When it comes to good leaven, like the leaven of the kingdom of heaven, let it entirely leaven or fill you.